So, folks, I posted a big long post the other day, just talking about how I'm getting ready to commit a great deal of attention and discipline to my health and fitness goals. And I tied in a little snippet of the fact that, I had noticed that a lot of people were kind of following along with my mental health journey and my journey with EMDR therapy. And so I had so many people reach out after that post about either they're in EMDR therapy or they're getting ready to start EMDR therapy, and asking me what it was like, whether or not it made a difference, whether or not it was helping me. And I just kind of remembered back to before I had ever heard of EMDR therapy, and kind of feeling like I felt so hopeless. I felt so hopeless and helpless. I had gotten the diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. Also, I'm gonna be driving, so I'm not gonna be looking at you guys any longer. But I had gotten the diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, and that was really overwhelming. When you Google borderline personality disorder and you read kind of like the symptoms and the outlook, it's tough. It's a tough read, let me tell you. And it was terrifying because basically when you have borderline personality disorder, it says, hey, you're destined to have some emotional difficulties forever. And I had, lived it. I was living it. I had already gone through 2 different diagnoses before that. I had gone, I'd done Prozac, I had done Zoloft, I had done Abilify, I had done Risperidone, Risperdal, and none of it was helping. Not a single medication did what it was supposed to do. I was at a point where I was taking the lowest prescribable amount of these medications. I was getting them in a metallic pill form and having to cut them in half. Because the symptoms, like the negative side effects, were so powerful for me. It was because I did not need medication. I did not have a chemical imbalance. That was not what my issue was. With borderline personality disorder, your brain just makes different connections, whether it's based on trauma or, whatever it is. But it's not like a chemical imbalance that needed to be balanced. It wasn't something that medication was going to solve, and that was what I expected for so long. That medication was going to be the end-all be-all for me, and I was going to be normal because I was taking these meds. And it wasn't working. It was not working. I had gotten to a point where I was pretty complacent with the emotional ups and downs, the exhaustion, the self-doubt, the depression. I was like, oh, this is just what I can expect, and I'm going to have to learn how to deal with it. And so a lot of you might know, some of you might not know, but when I had Ridian, I went through what's called postpartum psychosis. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression, where you just don't feel good enough to be a mom, or you're fearful that you're not doing the right things, and you get really depressed, you get really anxious, and everything is very scary for you, and it just takes a toll on your body, it takes a toll on your mind. When you let that go and you take it a step further, some people are susceptible to what's called psychosis, and basically that's just when you lose your head. So that was a really scary time for me. I had some pretty crazy intrusive thoughts. I was struggling a lot with wanting to hurt myself. I was struggling a lot with, resenting Ridian. I was having crazy thoughts about, well, what if I just take off? What if I just take off? I'm just going to leave her here and I'm going to take off. I'm not fit to be her mom. I'm not supposed to be her mom. It would be so much better if I wasn't here. And those started to become really real life, scary, intrusive thoughts, and they were happening all the time. And I finally was like, I called my friend and I was like, hey, I need you to come pick Ridian up, because I'm having some crazy thoughts and I need to figure this out. So I immediately got myself an appointment. I started doing intensive therapy, and I came out on the other side of that. So that was terrifying for me. Anybody who knows me knows that I am obsessed with my daughter. I love my daughter more than anything in this world, but because of psychosis, that was not there. That feeling of connectivity was not there. Immediately started doing all this therapy, and then things started to look up. Everything looked better. I was happier. I was able to control my moods more. I was more affectionate and more, consistent with my patients with Ridian. And then Ryan actually started going back to therapy as well. They suggested EMDR therapy to him. So at this point, I had no clue what it was. I didn't know anything about it. I had never researched it. I'd never heard of it. My therapist talked to me about it. But once he started doing EMDR therapy, it was like I saw, like, they weren't drastic changes. It wasn't like he did a complete 180. It wasn't like he was a completely different person. But I started to see some of his little quirks diminishing. Done several deployments that were pretty traumatizing, and had developed some quirks from those deployments that, he just, based on trauma, he had built these defense mechanisms based on that trauma, and it came up all the time. And so I started noticing that adjustment. It was a huge adjustment. And so I was like, you know what? This is working for him. Seeming to be a lot happier these days. Maybe I should try it. And so my therapist I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want you guys to track me down. But my therapist at the office I was going to at the time was like, we have a wonderful therapist. She does a sliding scale. She's great at it. This is her forte. That's her puppy. And so I started going there and seeing this therapist. And so I've been at it for like 15 weeks, I think. And it hasn't been EMDR therapy the whole time. We've done talk therapy and stuff like that. When you do it, you basically are processing through memories that cause you trauma and reteaching your brain, making those connections more logical, I guess. So, say you were in a car accident and it was terrible and you are traumatized every time you get on the road, your brain is going to say every time you drive you're going to be in an accident and you're scared to drive. You're going to have severe anxiety. Whereas when you do EMDR therapy, it helps you reprocess and say, okay, well, this happened this one time, but your brain does not have to be on high alert all the time every time you drive, because this, it helps you just rationalize things. And so I had a session today, and typically I get really stuck on the negative cognition. So at the beginning we say, okay, well, how does that make you feel? How does that memory make you feel about yourself? What negative cognition do you feel about yourself? So it's like, typically mine is like, I'm stupid, or I'm incapable, or I'm not in control, things of that nature. And so today it was, I'm incapable. And I processed through it, and it was freaking crazy. It was crazy. It was nuts. It was amazing. Gave me like a short couple glimpses of some traumatic experiences that I had made me feel incapable, and then almost immediately switched gears. Like, look at what you have done, what you have accomplished. Like, these were failures in my life that, like, I had back to back failures that I was like, all right, now I don't even want to try. There's no point in me even trying anymore, because I'm always going to fail, because these instances prove that. And so I had, little short snippets of that in my head, and then all of a sudden it was like, you could have seriously injured your kid. You could have seriously injured yourself, and instead of doing that, you were cognitive enough to say, this is wrong, I need help, and you immediately got help. What a success that is. How capable you were, how you controlled that situation, and you were able to come out on the other side of that in a good way, in a great way. And it just showed me a whole bunch of other successes, it being my brain. But when I got to the end of it, typically it takes several sessions to get to a positive cognition, a good feeling about it. Like, I no longer feel this negative way about it. I feel very positive about it. I feel like I have been successful. And it, like, man, it was quick today. It was so quick today. Like, look at all you've accomplished. Look at all you've done. Like, and it just, I felt like I really needed to make a video. I hate making videos. If anybody has ever seen any of my music videos, I do not talk beforehand. I don't talk afterwards. I hate doing live videos. I got a phone call in the middle of that. So my exit to this video is I just felt like I needed to make a video kind of explaining how EMDR therapy went today, because it was amazing. It was amazing. There's so many people that are messaging me saying, hey, how is it going? Because I'm getting ready to start and I'm a little nervous about it. Do not be nervous. It's gonna suck the first couple times you go. It's going to be miserable the first couple sessions, because basically what you're gonna have to do is relive a lot of trauma, relive a lot of circumstances that make you feel crappy. But at the end of it, you are going to feel like the heaviest emotional weights are lifted off of you, and you're going to feel so much better. So much better. Like, it's amazing. It's incredible. I have been med free for, I don't even know how long, for forever. And I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm not having panic attacks 6-7 times a day. I'm not having panic attacks once a week. I might have a panic attack once a month. Let's be real. I'm human. It's going to be like that. But, hyperventilating 6 times a day compared to hyperventilating maybe once a week or once a month, way better odds. But just wanted to kind of like post a video of like how I'm feeling afterwards, because there's a lot of people following along, and this kind of holds me accountable. Like, this is my accountability. I want you guys to like to beg me for this kind of information so that I'm sticking with it. Like, if I'm not posting about all this stuff, I've quit. And that is one of the things that I was working on in this session, is the constant desire to just give up or not even try, because failure is inevitable in my head. So this time I'm just not going to let myself do that. I'm not going to let myself quit. I'm not going to let myself fail. I'm not going to stop short because I'm afraid to fail. I am going to lose weight. I am going to get my head right, and I'm going to get my spiritual life right, and I'm going to be active with my kid, because I am lazy as all get out with her, and I get frustrated when she wants to do things because I'm just too tired. I don't have the stamina to do anything with her, and so that's just not okay anymore. And I'm going to keep you guys posted on this. And if you have any questions about EMDR therapy, I obviously did not explain what it was or how it works. That's a long video, and I'm already at like 15 minutes. So if you guys want me to post a video explaining kind of like how we work through it and how it works and what it is and what we do, I would love to. I'm more than happy to. You guys just shoot me a comment below or send me a message. And don't get mad if I don't message back real quick, because I never check my messages, but I'm going to have to start now. But anyway, have a wonderful Tuesday, and I hope you guys are having a very mentally stable day as well. Bye.